Shalom. This week's Torah portion, Parshat Pinchas, Numbers chapters 25 to 29, one of just 5 Torah portions that gets its name from a person in the Torah, Pinchas. Now, who is Pinchas? Well, he's Aaron's grandson. He's Moses' great-nephew. He's a member of the priestly family. At the end of last week's Torah portion, we get his most famous story, and it's not a pretty one. A leader of the tribe of Shimon, Zimri, son of Salu, takes a Midianite princess, Cosbi, daughter of Tsur, into his tent where they have a sexual encounter. Yeah, the same Midianites that are regarded as the implacable enemies of the Israelites. Aaron's son Pinchas, grandson Pinchas, is so incensed that he grabs his spear, goes into their tent during their moment of intimacy, and impales them. And that's the end of the Torah portion last week. Now, if you read that section for the first time, or you're hearing it now, you were mortified by this fanatical behavior. Now, last week, the Torah portion just reports the act and doesn't seem to take a position about what Pinchas did, whether it was good or bad. But it does this week. When our Parsha opens, far from being angry and rather than punishing Aaron's grandson for this act of murder, Pinchas is praised by God. God declares that Pinchas has turned God's anger away from the people who were being swayed by the idolatry and the behavior of the people of that region. Pinchas is rewarded by God for his zealotry and for vengeance. I mean, think about that. A man who just murdered 2 people involved in sex, and he's praised by God. I've been asked next year to give a class for Christian educators on how to work through the difficult passages of the Hebrew Bible, and I can guarantee you this is going to be one of them. What does a modern reader do with this passage? I know some in our tradition explain that one should always consider that the text is a reflection of the times. Remember when this was written. The Israelites were a fledgling nation. They needed to stop these acts of rebellion, which would destroy the nation from within. You needed a Pinchas at that time. Zimri's flagrant display of disrespect to God and to the people required such zealotry. Okay. Some see this as, look, it's a man who defended God's honor when no one else would. Okay. Some rabbis of the Talmud do not let Pinchas' act stand by itself, and they declare that they would excommunicate any person like Pinchas. Okay, that's a little better. I like the rabbis who feel strongly enough to voice their displeasure with Pinchas and with God. But I want to do something with the text itself, because these are the passages that you and I know could and are used by fanatics in faith, just like all faiths, to justify evil behavior in the name of God. I mean, we see that happen far too often. So what do you do with the text other than just say you disagree with it? I can't fix this text entirely, but I will tell you that I like one commentary by Rabbi Menachem Mendel of Kotsk. He broadens the camera lens and tells us to look at the entire Parsha, the entire Torah portion. Because he says the Pinchas story is just a tiny little piece of this week's Torah portion. The real story in this week's Sedra is that we are told for the first time that Moses asks God to help him choose a successor when he's gone. Now, why is that significant? Because given how much praise Pinchas receives at the very beginning of the Sedra, taking out your and my own feelings here, the Torah as a work of literature is almost foreshadowing that guess who's going to be the next Moses? It's got to be Pinchas. Pinchas is a priest. He's a relative. He's a leader. And he's zealot for God. God basically crowned him. Yet at the end of this week's Torah portion, in, if you will, the season-ending finale, God tells Moses to pick Joshua. Where did that come from? The Kotzker Rebbe explains This Sedra's real lesson: a zealot is not a leader. A zealot cannot be a leader. A zealot must never be a leader. A true leader is patient. A true leader loves humanity, loves human beings, is a caring soul, learns to control his or her anger. Pinchas lacked all of that. He cannot and will not succeed Moses. Now, this section of the Torah is still disturbing. It does not outright condemn this ugly act of fanaticism. I agree. I have trouble with that too. But the Kotzker Rebbe's approach helps, because his words teach me a great lesson, and that is extremism is not leadership, and that the ways of peace are what we are to always pursue, both as leaders and as human beings. Shalom.